Something really cool is happening at the North Pole this week. So we're looking from the top down. So right here would be the North Pole. Here's the United States. Over here is Asia, and then you've got Africa, Europe here. So you're looking at the North Pole in this area. Normally, as you develop that polar vortex in the wintertime, the winds spin like this around the North Pole, and that's kind of what's happening. But watch what happens as we move through this week. High pressure starts to warm up here. We completely disrupt that polar vortex, and that happens as we get the warming of the stratosphere, and it kind of goes away for a while, and those little lobes of cold air that's part of, I guess, what was the polar vortex break off, and some of them move south. It's one of the reasons you get some of those upper lows that start to develop sometime in May, is those cold pockets of air have to go somewhere as we see that seasonal change into summer happening at the North Pole, which affects us too. We're starting to warm up as well. The sun getting stronger and stronger, but we've got some things to talk about. In fact, some really hot weather on the way. We're going to dig into that too. This is by Saturday and Sunday across the Central Plains. Could be the hottest day of the year so far for many of you. You've already had a couple of days that got really warm, but we're talking about mid-90s now, maybe in Kansas. And we had a warm day a couple of weeks ago, but this looks like it might be a little more widespread, even further to the east, and maybe triple-digit heat and upper triple-digit heat starting to build back into Texas. And look, some of that heat trying to build east. A little cooler over the weekend, still in the 70s, but look, we're talking about close to 90 now back towards St. Louis and Chicago as we get towards Sunday. So let's talk about the culprit. Of course, we do have the seasonal change. That's one of the things. But we have a bit above a ridge starting to build in the east as we move toward, or I should say the central United States, as we move toward Thursday and Friday. Now, this system here, that's going to bring some showery weather, some cool weather. We're dealing with it in the east mostly today, heading into tomorrow. That eventually will start to lift out. Another system moving through Texas by Thursday and Friday. That'll bring more rain showers. This could bring some more severe weather, something to watch as we head toward the end of the week. And this upper low, this cold pool of air, there's a couple of them. You can kind of see them broken off from the North Pole now. And look, there's that ridging happening in the high latitudes. But anyway, this right here will bring some showery weather to the east by the weekend. We've kind of been watching that for the last couple of days now. But once that moves out, look at this ridge starting to build here. That will be your heat dome starting to build across the central United States by Monday. And then that presses here, trying to press toward the Great Lakes by, say, Tuesday, and maybe the Northeast by next Wednesday. So maybe some warm weather while we chill down across the west with this decent trough moving in. And again, there's your high temperatures expected on Sunday. Next week, we could be looking at mid-80s here into New England, maybe even up toward Buffalo with upper 80s, I think close to 90 across the south. Triple digits getting close to Dallas, but not quite, but well into the 90s across Texas, Oklahoma, and that heat continues heading into next week too across South Texas. But some cooler air does try to work in, and that's part of that trough that starts to build into the west next week. Some severe weather on the table today, mainly across Florida. That's the highest risk, but there could also be a few strong storms back across the deep south, up into the mid-south from Kentucky, Tennessee, maybe even as far north as Indiana and Ohio through the afternoon. A few tornadoes possible too, just because we do have the wind shear out there. The highest risk will be across Florida. Here's your future radar today. A lot of rain across the east and the southeast today. Again, there's some of those storms that could get a little strong here, spinning back across Kentucky and Tennessee, especially on the front side of this low spinning. Some of these could have some hail. Again, maybe an isolated tornado or two. I mean, look, there's a lot of wind shear out there. Even though it may be a low-top thunderstorm environment, some high shear could cause some of these to spin. And then across Florida, a lot of the upper dynamics. Strong jet here streaking through in the upper levels. You can see that, just the way things are lining up. And then we'll probably see that squall line push to the south as we move through Wednesday into central and eventually southern Florida with some lingering showers and, yes, some thunderstorms here across the mid-Atlantic. And then eventually that rain moves into the northeast by Thursday, at least the heavier rain back into Connecticut and southern New England. And we'll see more showers and storms across the central plains for Wednesday. Some of these could get on the strong side. A quick wide view before we go today. Here goes that system across the east we've been watching there with the rain showers. Here comes our next storm heading into Thursday and Friday. It's not really a storm, I guess, but we're just going to call it a system. No super deeply negatively tilted trough in the upper levels. In other words, guys, it's just an area of low pressure spinning through the south, but it's going to keep it wet here with showers and, yes, maybe a few thunderstorms mixed in. Heading into the weekend, look at this ridging. You can see it kind of building here across the central United States. This storm goes way to the north as we stay hot and dry here across the south heading into next week. So we're pretty far out now. So by the end of next week, we could stay active in the east and temperatures start to cool down some. Pretty far out, something we'll be keeping an eye on over the next couple of days. That's all I got for now. Hope you have a great Tuesday. See you next time.